Well, here we are at the gas station. Bing, 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 bing. But it reminds me of a really great application where you can actually see linear systems in play in real life. And this really actually occurs in a lot of economic situations. Here's a simple one at the gas station where there are three different types of gas at this particular gas station. There's the regular, there's the plus, and then there's the premium. And check out these interesting facts. So the total amount of revenue generated by this gas station was $13,000. That's a lot of money, with a total of 3,000 gallons of gas sold. So they sold 3,000 gallons of gas total, and their total revenue was $13,000. And then here's an extra little piece of information that we're given. We're told that twice as many gallons of premium gas as plus gas was sold, and now our challenge is to figure out how many gallons of each type of gas was sold. Now, there's one little piece of missing information, which I give you right here, and that is the price of gas. So regular was selling for $4, plus $4.25, and of course the ever-loved premium is $4.50. And so now where do we go with this? Well, we're trying to find out how many gallons of each of these three were sold. So we should give them names. Maybe we're going to call the amount sold of regular X plus, call that Y, and the premium we'll call Z. Now, the question is, how can we take this information that we know and actually make sense of it? Well, let's just think about it. The first thing we're told is that the total amount of revenue is $13,000. What does that mean? Well, if we sold X gallons of regular, each for $4 a gallon, how much revenue did that generate? It generated $4 times X, or 4X. And then we have to add to that the amount generated by the plus gas, which in this case is going to be the amount sold, Y, times the price, which is 4.25, 4.25, times the amount sold, Y. And then finally the price, $4.50, of the premium times the amount sold, the premium, which is Z, and that equals 13,000, and these are dollars here. Cool. We're also told that the total number of gallons sold was 3,000. That means if I take this number of gallons plus that number of gallons plus that number of gallons, that equals 3,000. So there's another equation in three unknowns. Do you see where we're building? And there seems to be one last thing that we're given, which is that twice as many gallons of premium gas as plus gas was sold. So that means that the plus gas is actually the same. I'm sorry, the premium gas is actually the same as 2 times the plus gas. Because we're told that twice as many gallons of the premium gas was sold as the plus gas. So if I took the plus gas and doubled it, I'd have the exact same number of the premium gas. So I see this. And that's my system. That's the system that I want to look at. And here it is, written very nicely. Oh, in fact, and this, I see. Maybe actually I should do this. Oh, well. Total sales, that equals exactly this. Total number of gallons equals the sum of this. And twice as much premium as plus was sold, and that's this. Maybe I should have showed you that earlier. Whoops. Hope I don't get fired in the middle of the working out. Well, if I get fired, I want to get fired now before I get into the working out and solving the equation. So let's give ourselves a second to see if I get fired. No. All right. Too bad. Okay. So here is the system that we want us to look at. And we're going to now solve this system and see if there's going to be a solution or not. All right, now where do you start? Well, the first thing is, this thing is not in the form that we need to kind of write this in. We want to have all the variables on one side, and I want to actually align them so that I have all the x's, all the y's, and all the z's aligned. So if I bring this over to this side, I need to bring it way over to here, and that's what I'm going to do first. So my very first step is just to rewrite this a little teeny bit. I've got to copy everything else down. By the way, I'm going to do something else, and you might get mad at me for this, but I hope you don't. But I just hate fractions, and you see there's lots of fractions in here. This is actually 4 1/4, and this is actually 4 1/2, and I really hate that because all these fractions are involved. So I'm going to actually try to clear denominators right out of the bat by multiplying this entire first equation through by 4, which I'm allowed to do, and it creates an equivalent system. But if I do that, let's check out what happens. 4 times 4, that's easy. That's going to be 16. And what's 4 times this? Well, 4 times 4 is 16. And remember, that's now a fourth. And 4 times a fourth is going to be a 1. So that's going to be 16 and 1 is 17. So that's plus 17y. If you like the decimals there, then you could just keep them in. But And then what's 4 times 4 and a half? Well, 4 times 4 is 16. And 4 times a half is 2. So that's 16, 17, 18. So I see 18. Z. So now I like this side, but there's always a price you pay. There's no such thing as a free lunch in this business. I've got to now multiply that by 4, so it's going to get really, really big, and I see 52,000. So that's the price you pay if you want to get rid of all that stuff, but I do. So now I'm going to copy this stuff down. I'm going to try to write it nice and neat. I think it's so important to write neat here. And then I'm going to bring this over, but I'm going to put it with the y, so it's going to be a negative 2y plus z equals now 0. Okay, and that's the system that I want us to take a look at. So let's just put these kind of more fancy ones away. And this is the system, the whole thing, that I want us to take a look at. So where do we go from here? Well, I think what I'm going to do is I will multiply this equation by negative 16 and then add it to this one. And let's see what happens there. I hope this is going to be good. This looks scary to me. Okay, so you ready for this? Here we go. In fact, I'm going to do a couple things here at first. Why don't I just copy this one up here. Because I like that small. See, I like the small stuff. They say don't sweat the small stuff. Now I'm going to take this one, multiply it by negative 16, and add it to that, and put that in its place. So I'm going to now, just for myself, don't tell anyone I'm doing this. Negative 16. I might have to use a calculator here. We'll see. Okay, here we go. So negative 16x plus 16x is 0. So that's a 0 here. Here I see negative 16y plus 17y is just y. Here I see negative 16z plus 18z. That's like 2z. And now negative 16 times that. Now, you know it in your head. I've got to write it out here a little bit. So this is 16 times 3. That's going to be 18. So it's 3. So it's 48,000. And I have to subtract so I take the 52 and then minus 48,000. So that's something like 4,000. See, even I have to do a little bit of calculation every once in a while. And now I'm going to write this one down here as negative 2y plus z equals 0. Okay, so there's now an equivalent system. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this middle one by 2 and add it to the third one and put that in the third one's place. I'm going to put the third one in its place. That's right, you heard me. So the first thing I'm going to do is just copy everything else down because I don't want to lose it. You can so easily lose this stuff. Neatness counts. Everything counts here. Okay. And now comes the fun. Oops. The fun is I'm going to multiply this guy by 2 and then add it to this guy and put it as the third equation. So here we go. 2y plus minus 2y is 0, so I'm loving that. Here I see 4z plus z is 5z. And here I see 2 times 4,000, which is 8,000, plus 0, which is 8,000. Okay, super. And now I've got an equivalent triangular system. And this is awesome, because with this equivalent triangular system, I can now solve this for z. Okay. I hope you're happy. This is not looking good, is it? Oh, maybe it's looking good. Oh, maybe it's looking good. You know what? Don't give up the ship. That's what I say. All right, so let's solve for z. So what do I have to do? I have to divide both sides of this last equation by 5. Oh, yeah, this is great. Well, why am I doubting myself? How dare I doubt myself? If I divide both these sides by 5, I see that z equals 1,600. And this represents gallons. So let me just write in gallons here just to remind us. So that's how many gallons. So that's what z equals. Now, once I have z, I can now back substitute and find out the other values. So here we go. And I use my back substitute color. So I come up to here, and I say, okay, fine. Y plus 2 times that, which is going to be 3,200 equals 4,000. Do you see how I'm taking the z I have and plugging it in here? And so that means that y equals 4,000 minus 3,200, which is about 800 gallons. So let's quickly write that down before I forget. Okay, so the y equals 800 gallons. Look how nicely this is working out. See, once you do all the simplification to get it into an equivalent triangular form, then you're good to go. And then what about the x? Well, I go up to the x now, and I plug in everything I know. So x plus y, which is 800, plus z, which is 1,600, equals 3,000. And so therefore, x plus 2,400 equals 3,000. If I subtract 2,400 from both sides, I see that x equals 600. Oh, so let's not forget that. So x equals 600, 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 x equals 600 gallons. So we just now solved this really complicated system, which is equivalent, if you remember, to this one. That's where we started, although we had to write it in a way that we wanted to deal. So the solutions are the same. And remember what's given. X is representing the gallons of regular gas sold, and the y represents the plus gas sold, and the z represents the premium. So if we write it as an ordered triple, which I like to do, x, y, z, always in that order, we see 600 gallons, 800 gallons, and 1,600 gallons. And you can check it for yourself by taking this value for x, y, and z and plugging it into each one of these 3 equations, and you'll see that they're all satisfied. So in fact, we found the exact number of gallons of each type of gas that was sold in the gas station. That's really cool, if you think about it. That just given what seemed like not even enough information really allowed us to solve it. In fact, we were given enough information, because check it out. We had 3 unknowns, the 3 different types of gas, the gallons sold. But we were given 3 things. We were given how much each of the gas types cost. We were given the total amount of money that was sold. So that's one fact. We were told how many gallons sold. That's another fact. And we were told this peculiar relationship between the plus and the premium. That's a third fact. So I have 3 facts and I have 3 unknowns. And so it makes some sense that if all goes well, we could really actually find a solution. In this case, there's a unique solution. There was only one way that gas station could make that money and sell that gas at those prices, with that little caveat about the plus and the premium: 600 regular, 800 plus, and 1,600 premium gallons sold. Absolutely cool. There's a great premium in thinking about linear systems, linear equations, and you can enjoy it for yourself. And not only just in the kind of biological thing, but here we're seeing an economic reason. And in economics, this kind of stuff really is important. I'll see you soon.